Once upon a time, in a small village in Turkey, there lived a wise and humorous man named Nasreddin Hodja. Hodja was known throughout the land for his clever wit and unexpected wisdom. He always found a way to teach people valuable lessons, sometimes in the most amusing ways. One day, a wealthy man in the village decided to host a grand feast. He invited all the important people in town, including Nasreddin Hodja. Excited about the gathering, Hodja dressed in his simple, everyday clothes and made his way to the feast. When he arrived, the guests were dressed in their finest silks and jewels. The host, who barely recognized Hodja in his modest attire, greeted him coldly. "Ah, Hodja," the host said with a forced smile, "you may sit in the corner." The servants ignored him, and no one offered him food or drink. Hodja sat quietly, observing how the wealthy guests were treated with honor while he was overlooked. Without saying a word, Hodja got up and went back home. This time, he dressed in his finest, most luxurious coat, one made of soft velvet with golden embroidery. He put on a jeweled turban and elegant shoes, then returned to the feast. As soon as he stepped inside, the host and guests gasped. "Ah, Nasreddin Hodja," the host exclaimed, rushing over to greet him. "Please, come sit at the best table." Servants hurried to offer him the finest dishes, sweet baklava, steaming kebabs, and fragrant rice. Hodja sat down, but instead of eating, he did something very strange. He took handfuls of food and began rubbing them on his coat. "Eat, my dear coat, eat," he said. The guests stared at him in confusion. The host stepped forward and asked, "Hodja, what are you doing?" Hodja smiled and said, "When I arrived in my simple clothes, no one cared about me. But when I wore this fancy coat, I was treated like a king. It seems that I am not the guest. You have invited my coat to the feast." Everyone fell silent. The wealthy host turned red with embarrassment, realizing his mistake. He bowed his head and said, "Hodja, you have taught us an important lesson today." From that day on, the villagers remembered Hodja's clever trick. They learned that a person's worth is not measured by their clothes or wealth, but by their character and wisdom. And as for Nasreddin Hodja, he simply chuckled and continued spreading his wisdom, one clever story at a time. Moral of the story: true respect should be given to a person's character, not their appearance. This famous Turkish folktale about Nasreddin Hodja teaches children the importance of valuing people for who they are, not what they wear or own. His stories are loved across Turkey and beyond, filled with humor, wit, and wisdom. Thanks for watching.